my first movie was shooting, I think we shot about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And I played, my role was, I was playing a young guy, a young investor who lost all his money because he invested in a stock that failed. Pretty much what happens with everyone who invested in the Madoff, in the Bernie Madoff fund. And so preparing for that role, I read a bunch of books about Madoff. This was in 2011, I think. So I think there were like 3 or 4 books about him. So I bought everything. I bought all the books. And I just started reading about the guy because he had raised about over $60 billion, apparently. 60 billion, not million, billion dollars in, investments from funds, from, groups, from banks, and from wealthy individuals. And I really recommend you study the way he did it. Of course, he destroyed lives, and he destroyed his own life and, the life of his family. But he did some very, very mischievous but very smart things, and I think he used his intelligence. I mean, obviously he destroyed things, so he's not an example, but there's a lot to be learned from the way he did business. For example, one of the stories in the book, in the books actually, because like there's all these small stories of his clients coming out and just saying, hey, I lost 10 million or 50 million. What's interesting is so Madoff would have clients in the beginning. I think he was running the scam, like he'd ran it for since the 80s or something. And so the only way to be able to, give money to Madoff was to be recommended by one of his former clients, actually one of his current clients. So what happened was you could even call Madoff and say, hey, I want to invest 100 million. He literally would not talk to you, right? And this guy was like the president of NASDAQ, and handling like billions, but he would not talk to you if you were not recommended. So he created a dynamic where you had to know someone who had already gained Madoff's trust, right? And it's funny because most wealth management companies generally they're on the hunt. They're hunting for money. And what he did, he just said, I'm not accepting clients. The only way you can actually have me manage your money is if you're recommended by one of my current clients. And also, not only that, but he would force his clients in a very subtle way to get their friends to convince Madoff. So he actually would turn people down. Like he would actually say, look, you want to invest 5 million with me? It's ridiculous. Just like, who are you? So he would turn down people who would, spend or invest a few million with him, and he would just call them out and say, I mean, who do you think I am? I handle big money. So if you want to work with me, you need to put more money in. So I mean, I think that's a very interesting way of doing business. Of course, he scammed people. It's horrible. I mean, like I said, he destroyed lives, but the way he did it is interesting. He didn't accept everyone who was just like throwing money at him. He would push people away, and then he would make them want the service, and then they would just gather everything they had and just put, like, instead of, if they wanted to start with 2 or 3 million, as an initial investment, he would turn them away, and then they would panic because they would say, who is this guy? The guy's turning me down. All the other banks want my money, but he's turning me down. Like, I need to raise more money. So they would go out and they would raise 20, 30, 50, or 100 million and just give him everything.
Go to MatthiasMazur.com to watch the full episode and connect with Matthias on social media. See the links in the description below.